welcome to Movie Buffers, episode 6. This is Jordan, and I'm going to be introducing a special guest today. He's from YourDailyHourWithMe.com, Your Daily Hour with Me, YouTube, Your Daily Hour with Me on Local Access TV. If you're out in the Northwest, where are you from, Kenny? Where are you at?
In Thurston County.
In Thurston County.
ydhwm.
Thanks for being here today, Kenny.
Thanks for having me.
First guest on this.
Whoop, whoop. First one after, and then we're going to get Spielberg. Second guest, Spielberg.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's shoot for the stars. Yeah. So today we want to talk about Nobody. It stars Bob Odenkirk.
And the RZA.
Yeah. Isn't that his brother? The brother in hiding or whatever.
Is it his brother in the movie?
Is it his brother?
Or is it like
I thought they were trying to go for they were adopted. They were
adopted brother kids. Or like weird, unexplained. Like, why is this happening?
Yeah.
Or was it like ill brother, like they call him black people brother?
No, I don't think I thought that maybe he was adopted because it showed pictures of Christopherlloyd,
father in arms,
which is also awesome. I think we should talk about Christopherlloyd. This was quite a movie to see him in, and he looked so happy. Didn't it seem like he looked really happy?
He was very happy
to be like blowing people away, and he's like 85 years old.
Lots of joy.
Yeah.
I thought there was a lot of joy in it, even though it was about story.
Have you heard about how Bob Odenkirk kind of came up with this story and stuff?
No. Did he write the movie?
So, I mean, he kind of wrote the premise and then pitched it. And then he started working out a lot out of nowhere. So what happened was him and his family actually went through a home invasion. People broke into his house, and he said that it was very traumatic for his family, and they're still dealing with it.
Yeah.
But he ended up writing, I think it might have been I don't know for sure, but it was a spec draft or spec script or something. And then he went in and pitched it. And then the writer for John Wick came onto this movie. I'm not sure who the director is. Maybe it's a John Wick director. So their name is the director of this movie's name is Ila Naishuler. I guess he's so he did Hardcore Henry, and did you watch that movie? It was the first person action movie. It was pretty bad. I mean, when it came out, everyone was super hyped about it, but it's
it's like first person shooter, the movie.
Yeah, it looked like a Call of Duty movie. But this is the director of that. But still, I thought that this was really well shot and well made.
Yeah, it looked good.
It looked really good. But so I guess Bob Odenkirk wrote this in a response because he was shaken up about it. I don't know if he had a gun in his face or anything, but I mean, somebody broke into your house and traumatized your family. But what a cool response though. He's he writes and stars in a movie where he's blowing these people away.
Yeah, definitely a different response to that. I was kind of when I first saw the trailers, I was what is this movie about? Doesn't seem like he would be in this kind of thing.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Probably the entire world thought, and he really wanted to do this. He just started working out and became kind of a fitness freak for out of the blue. And he was talking, I think this was on the Howard Stern interview, but he was talking about how his wife would come in and be oh my God, this is the worst midlife crisis ever. He was just trying to get ripped, but he had a plan was to make this movie and to kind of just show a different side of him, which it was really cartoony, I felt a lot of it was a little Looney Toony, almost like Tom and Jerry when he wipes the incident board. That big
workplace. It was very joyful. There's it's either gonna be violence can be Saw or hostile or let's maybe like Texas, not Texas Chainsaw Massacre is still pretty nasty. I'm trying to think like a happy, there's like happy slashers, you know, like maybe, oh, maybe Scream or something where the violence is not just like, oh, it's just like happy, joyful violence.
The music, along with the action, choreography, and cinematography, was all done so well. It felt like a brutal, bloody dance, and
Yeah.
it was gritty. The whole shootout, I had a big smile, mainly because this movie's so rare. In the beginning, when he's like missing the garbage truck and just constantly surrounded by all these masculine dudes being like, oh man, is that the way you handled that? Like, if that was my family, I would have fucking killed those guys, and
Yeah.
I think everyone could kind of relate to that a little bit when, you know, I think we've all been around that guy who just kind of like makes us feel like a wimp, but still like
Yeah.
we hate them deep down, like.
The trailers kind of made it seem like it was going to be about some schlub who gets attacked and then flips
And
the switch and then just starts like fucking her up. Are we cursing?
yeah, it's fine.
It's an R-rated movie, right? Yeah. And so he like, I thought the movie was gonna be like regular guy, like who you think Bob Odenkirk would play, and is gets a home invasion, and then he goes like, it's more like have you seen what's it like the Charles Bronson movie?
The
And
Death Wish. I actually
Death
just
Wish.
I actually wrote that down in my notes. Hold
Death
on.
Wish, and then there's like another like Kevin Bacon. It's like a whole genre of like family father kills the entire mafia. They fight the mafia, and then there's like the Bruce Willis remake of the Charles Bronson.
Oh, that one was called Death Sentence. I think I just.
Oh, it wasn't just a remake.
Yeah, and then there was one with Bruce Willis. Yeah, I went and saw that in the theater by myself.
Was that good? Was that R?
No, it was horrible. Yeah, it was R.
Yeah.
It was directed by Eli Roth, I think. And
Oh yeah.
I fucking hate that guy.
Yeah, Eli Roth's not good. From Hostel.
Yeah, he doesn't seem like a very like
The Bear Jew
person.
I think, right? He's the Bear Jew.
He's
right?
the Bear Jew from
Yeah.
Bastards. Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean that one went bad. You can see how it can go wrong too. This one was good.
I was really shocked at how good it was because it's kind of felt like I've been having to choke movies down lately. I'm just like, just haven't really been interested in them. And then when I started, I was like, oh, maybe I could try talking about movies on a podcast. And I was like, oh, now I have to fucking watch. Now I have to force myself to watch movies.
Yeah. Well, I've been having a weird time with movies basically because of the last couple of years, and even now, even some current events actually, like going to this movie with the whole Russian thing. But
yeah. Oh my god.
I've been like I used to, my favorite movie was like maybe, or not my favorite, but I did enjoy Saw and like Hostel and just like, what do you call that? Like, what's that genre? Like torture. They call it torture porn. I was not going to say I like torture porn, but I like those torture, just like nasty, like, like, you call that kind of stuff. But recently, after the last couple of years, I got to watch more joyful things. So this movie, like, does like the bloodlust of that you want to feel without being like skin crawly, which is like the opposite of maybe what like churchy people would think violence should be. They're like, this movie really glorifies violence, and I think it does.
It really does, but I mean, that the majority of the people watching this movie and gave it all the views on demand and stuff, there were probably a lot of like Republicans and shit, because it was people. Yeah, well, because he was talking on Stern too about how well this movie did in theaters and how well it actually did on demand and DVD sales, and I was like, well, the only people who like do on demand and DVD sales are mainly shitty conservative people. I don't know.
Yeah, I watched it on HBO.
Oh really?
Yeah.
This was the movie I bit the bullet and went and saw in theaters. It was like the first one since Tenet. And I was pissed off at my brother because it was fucked up. He was talking about how he was hungry all day and how we should go get food, and I already bought him a ticket to this movie. And then all day he's like, let's go get food. Like, let's go get food. And then we finally went out and we're at the taco trucks, and we get up to the thing, and then he was like, oh, I don't have any money. And then like, yeah, then I was like, dude, you've been asking me to bring you to fucking get food all day. I was like, you thought I was just gonna buy it for you?
$10.
Yeah, and then like he threw a fit and was like, don't fucking buy me anything. And like I like yelled at him, and then like we got we got in like a fight, and then it ruined seeing this movie in theaters, which I bought him a ticket to this fucking movie before it happened. So it was like,
Then you had an extra ticket?
no, he went and saw it, but he just didn't talk to me for the rest of the
night.
night.
And he didn't eat?
Yeah, I bought him a burrito. He finally accepted this burrito.
You gotta eat.
It took me forever to actually. I was like, dude, just fucking take the burrito. Just take it. And he was like, no, I don't want it. Yeah, but I'll never forget that day because it was the day I went and saw nobody.
Yeah.
And then the scene where he's seeking revenge on the two invaders in his own home, and he breaks into their place.
Mm-hmm.
When he sees the baby on the oxygen tank, like it kind of like sank my heart into my stomach for a second. I like forgot. Yeah, I forgot about that scene. Like I almost, yeah.
Are we gonna go like beat by beat through the movie? But crazy. I didn't know. I thought the premise of the movie was that he was gonna be like from what I had heard about it was gonna be that he was a regular guy.
Yeah, like a nobody.
I didn't get that spoiled for me.
Yeah, I didn't get that either. Somehow they made this trailer, in which everybody wanted to see that anyway, like just a regular average Joe.
Yeah.
Just becoming Superman.
The beginning of the movie where it's just like doing his routine, his 9 to 5. He's like getting shit on by his boss, and he's just like trying to do a regular kind of thing.
Yeah.
You don't think that he's gonna be FBI, or was he CIA? Well, I think he says one of those initial groups. I think it's auditor.
Auditor, yeah, he's what we called an auditor. His dad was in the FBI, so when he went back to his dad's place to get the gun and all that stuff to go over to that house,
he's like doing the day-to-day thing, and then he's gonna get the robbers or whatever. They come in and break into his house, and it's put on like pretty scary. It seems like it's like a horror that maybe like his family is gonna get killed based on the trailers. So I kind of thought it was gonna be Kevin Bacon style thing where like the mafia kills his family and then he has to get revenge on it. So kind of like watching like, oh, is this gonna be his family's gonna get killed here?
Yeah, it did kind of seem like that. I remember seeing the trailer because I'm a Bob Odenkirk fan, so I was on board for this right away. But the way it played out in the movie instead is the break-in happens, and then the son ends up tackling someone, and then the dad, it shows from, it doesn't show the real perspective yet. It just shows him kind of chicken out, like he doesn't want to hit the guy.
Yeah, you think that it's because he's scared.
Yeah, and then it seems like his family loses respect for him for some reason.
But his wife knows about his past, I think.
So that's one thing I was actually confused about until the very end. Was if she knew or not.
Yeah.
Did it kind of wrap that up? I don't remember.
Well, at the very end, they're like buying the house.
Yeah.
And she's like, does this house have a basement? And the movie like fade to black. But it seems like she knows.
I think that kind of alludes to her knowing, yeah.
Which maybe is why she doesn't have the respect, because she's like, I know that you could have just taken them out very easily and you still let them go.
Yeah, it's true, because I thought that the mother was a little lacking in emotions when all this was going down. Like she wasn't doing the average mom. A regular mom would be freaking out. This could have actually probably torn a family apart. Having
they know already, but it's revealed later on that he noticed that the gun was empty. I think.
Yeah, so he noticed that the gun was old and it hadn't been fired in a long time, and then it like zooms around and it shows the chamber and all the bullets are out of it. I thought it was really cool how they did the exposition dumps in this movie. You know,
Yeah.
they seemed organic and natural to where it's like it wasn't. Um, I just got done like watching like Shonda Rhimes that Inventing Anna show. Have you heard of that?
No.
But oh my god, like talk about a movie that or a show that just is full of exposition dump.
I'll turn off a movie if the movie starts with a voiceover.
Yeah,
I will turn it off. And I
yeah,
don't. What did I not have? Like, you like the Batman, right? The new one.
yeah.
Like,
I did.
Batman. I don't know. Maybe it might have been that the very first thing that happened was a voiceover, and then I was out after that. But I was like, oh, voiceover. Like, if there's a voiceover, so this movie, like instead of having a voiceover, it's like just he's talking to somebody else, and it's showing his memories and like doing fast cuts and stuff to like go back to what he's remembering, where it could just have been a voiceover or anything like that. Instead, it was like quick editing and
Yeah,
it was more cinematic. Like if I want to read a book. So this was cinematic, you know.
yeah, and I feel like I kind of agree with you there. I if you have voiceover in your movie right away, I'm not rolling with it right away. I'm like instantly judging it, and it like I'm trying to see if you're doing it well, and if it's like keeping my interest, and
Yeah.
if it's contributing to the story, or if it's just like or if it's just spelling it out for me.
Is there voiceover in Scorsese? I
Oh
guess
man,
I don't even remember. I guess if it's in there and it's good, you don't remember that it was there.
see, yeah, that's
Yeah,
that.
I guess.
I agree with that. Like, so if it's well done, I usually am like, all right, whatever. But if it's like it was done in that Batman movie, or you know, it was kind of done in this, but it was done well.
Was there voice? There was no voiceover, like just like disembodied, like main character narrating, like who is he talking to? Like it's basically like he's talking directly to the audience.
Yeah,
There was none of that. It was always he was talking to somebody else.
yeah, that's true.
So voiceover is when it's like actually like as if it's a book. But I think a lot of times like the books, they're like it's like a book. It's like you're reading a book and then you just want to do a narration to tell you the story from the character, but then you're like,
Yeah,
who is he supposed to be talking to? So that's like I get basically fourth wall breaking, and that's why Deadpool is like on purpose fourth wall breaking.
yeah,
He's like, hey, I'm talking to you. It's like, who are you talking to right now? Like me, like on purpose. So if they're not like acknowledging that, like, hey, I'm talking to you, or maybe they do like some kind of wraparound where he's like in a radio interview, and he's like, oh, here's my thing, my voiceover. But this one, he was talking to the guy, or he was talking to the. Actually, I think they did do the wraparound because he was talking to the police, right? But
oh
so
yeah,
he.
oh yeah, yeah. Okay, I think when you're like when he's going and on the search for the that tattoo, that like tribal tattoo that he
He
sees.
saw the tattoo. Yeah. Oh yeah. And he's in a tattoo shop. So he gets robbed, and then there's like a couple of. He goes back to his routine. So he gets robbed, and then it goes back to like the days of the week, right?
Yeah,
And then but then he's like having. So it's like shows his routine. He gets robbed, and then goes back to his routine. Now his routine is messed up, and he can't be living his day to day.
yeah. He's like having a hard time like looking like this to his family, you know, like he
Yeah.
wants to be undercover because he's obviously keeping his alter ego, this what did he say he did before, the auditor
Badass?
or whatever, yeah, the badass auditor
Secret
guy,
badass. Yeah.
trying to keep that a secret from his family for some reason, and his son's just like, dude, what the hell? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, so and then he's just constantly getting broken down too. Like, remember the way the cops were kind of like condescending to him, and like
Yeah.
they're like, oh, they got in with the pizza box, huh? They're like, man, if that was my family, you did the right thing, you know. And like they were kind of smirking at him and stuff.
Yeah, and then it's like I think there was like it's like the meme is like these guys don't know I'm a badass.
Yeah,
You know what I'm talking about?
and it's like the burden of knowing that you're capable of so many things, but everyone just thinks you're a loser.
So that he gets goes back to the days of the week and he can't handle it, so he decides that he has to. Well, and then the bracelet, the kid's bracelet is what does it, right? The girl's like, "Have you seen my bracelet?"
Yeah, so the when the people broke in, the only thing that he gave them was the money on the table because he was like, I use a debit card, which I thought was funny too, because I mean, if you break into anyone's house, I mean, they're lucky they got cash just laying on the table. You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, so the kitty cat bracelet was in that bowl, and then she's like,
Mm.
"Well," she's like, "Have you seen that?" And then it's like a flashback to he's like, "Oh fuck," and he just instantly like turns around and leaves,
Yeah.
which I thought it was maybe that should have been the indicator that the wife knew what was going on because she didn't even have any reaction to it.
Yeah.
And this neither did the son really. He's just like done with his dad at this point, which makes me kind of scared as a dad, you know, to be like watching these movies with teenagers and being awful.
So then he saw the tattoo on one of the robbers.
Yeah.
So then
Uh,
he's going to tattoo shops.
yeah, which I thought was really cool too. I don't think I really it seems like we've seen it before in like a lot of, you know, like we said, cheesy 80s like Death Witch dad movies.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, how are they gonna find the bad guys? It's like they hit the tattoo parlors, you know.
Yeah. I think that I mean this one was like um it was not like super original feeling, and that was fine. Like it didn't. So then you were like it wasn't trying too hard. Also,
Yeah.
I think that it was like it's like almost exactly 90 minutes, like with the credits, and I really appreciate that too.
Yeah, it was an hour and a half.
Yeah, it's like
Perfect.
right on it. So that's like how long movies should be. Like movies are too long.
Oh
Like
yeah, I
yeah,
know.
the Batman 3 out like 3+
3
hours.
hours.
Oh my god, 90-minute Batman. I want to see 90-minute Batman. Or
Oh
two. It
man,
could have been 2 movies.
they could
Yeah, I
have just
would.
made the series, to be
Yeah,
honest.
made a series, cut it in half. Just be like,
Mhm.
it's over in the middle of the movie. You got to come back in a year.
That's where I'm
Um,
like, I feel like I'm like, just make a Batman show already. Stop trying to make movies; they're just bad.
yeah. Well, they
Just
have a ton of those anyway. But
yeah,
so he goes to the going to ask all the tattoo people. And you still at this point you think that he's just a guy.
yeah. I just thought he was just a normal guy with a bright idea. You know, he was like, he saw that tattoo, so naturally, I was like, so he's not nobody. He's smart. You know,
Yeah.
but
And you're like, this guy's getting into something that he can't handle. You kind of think that he's gonna go and find them, and then he's gonna get like really beat up at first, maybe like Kick-Ass style or something.
yeah. I know that's what I thought was gonna happen, which he does get his ass kicked pretty well in this movie. But
Yeah. But then he's just fine afterwards.
yeah, I liked that scene though when he went to the one tattoo parlor and yeah, he flashes the FBI thing and they're like that ain't even you on the picture, dude. And the veteran guy behind him sees those two those two card tattoos on his wrist.
Yeah, I think it's a Marine. It's a Marines or something. Yeah.
Yeah, and he just like stands up and walks out and locks the door on his way out, and then you're like, oh, I think that's pretty much where you're like, oh, so he's like, well, I mean, his dad being revealed that he was in the FBI and shit too. That was a pretty big indicator that, you know, maybe this guy isn't just a normal guy, you know, like
Yeah, he's at the tattoo shop, and the guy sees this thing, and he doesn't want to. He's like, so he leaves. The one guy sees his tattoos, and he's just like, oh shit, he gets out of there.
mm-hmm.
The other tattoo people don't notice, and that's your first inclination of like this guy's got a secret.
Yep. That only veterans know.
And then they know, so they know that what like those guys know the robbers. He's riding the bus to like why is he on the bus? He rides the bus to the robbers place.
Yeah. So he I guess he rides the bus all the time.
Yeah.
And he's always like he's a commuter. He's a public transport commuter.
I like the ambiguous setting too, like anywhere USA.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, this could be anywhere, and this could be shot in like 5 different cities, and it could be cut together in anywhere USA. And then yes, so he does go breaks.
Probably Vancouver or something, right? Or did you?
Yeah,
guess.
I think it was shot in Vancouver. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. This is the scene we were talking about where he breaks in, and obviously these people are poor and they have a baby on an oxygen tank, and it's a very heart-wrenching scene. And he doesn't have the heart to do anything. He just asks for the kitty cat bracelet and then leaves.
Yeah, he gives them mercy a second time.
Yeah, mercy a second time, pretty much. And then yeah, that's the scene when he gets on the bus.
But
And he's
he's used to being sent on like missions where when he shows up he's gonna kill everybody,
yeah.
and he's all ready for that. He was all pumped up. I was thinking he kind of got like violence blue balls.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like I'm ready to kill.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why when he's riding the bus and then all those.
When he goes outside, he starts punching the wall in the alley.
Yeah, that's
He's
right.
like, oh, I'm gonna kill somebody. like, whoa, Bob. Like,
yeah. Well, and like cutting back to him doing pull-ups and stuff at the bus stations and stuff, that was also, I guess I thought it was kind of weird that a normal guy was just doing that, but a bunch of dudes get on this bus and start harassing this young lady.
and he's really excited about it too.
Yeah, he's like, oh, you could see it. And I loved the slow-mo walk up to the bus driver where it's just like it's slow motion and he like pushes her off it and he's just like,
this is the whole trailer too. This whole
yeah, totally. I also put in my notes, I was like, this bus fight scene was so fucking exhilarating and it blew Shang-Chi out of the water.
I saw Shang-Chi, yeah. It was, I think they must have been shot concurrently because nobody like watched that one. Like they didn't know that there was going to be another bus fight at the same time.
Yeah, in the same year or kind of the same year, yeah. But there was, and I think maybe just the addition to all the blood and the well choreographed violence in this one that makes it much better. Plus, I think Shang-Chi was a pretty shitty movie too. But
I thought Shang-Chi was fine.
I need to see it again.
No, we keep talking about Batman, but Batman was PG-13 though. So that movie, it's like I thought that maybe the Batman like wanted to be R.
Yeah.
So they were like brutal punches, but then nothing. I was just like,
well, they were supposed to. Yeah, they were supposed to be really.
Or Bob Odenkirk, you know.
Yeah, totally.
Those guys get on the bus, and then some of them are American.
Yeah.
But some of them are Russian. And when I first saw the movie, I saw it like right when it came out on HBO, whatever, like a month, 2 months ago or something. And then, you know, basically World War III. Now it's like, oh, Russians? Like, oh, wow. So
I wrote that in my notes too. I wrote, what a time to be watching a movie with Russian antagonists.
So that's a pretty quick way to establish the villains through, I guess, like accent. Like Russians, they're the bad guys. Like they fight but they it looks like there's just like some rich hoodlums, maybe like the Joker, maybe like those guys, looks like rich, like entitled douchebag kind of guys. And they're getting on the bus. Why are they getting on the bus to just harass?
That's actually a good point too. This is like the same exact scene from Joker.
Yeah.
Like,
but the Joker, they're picking on him.
Yeah, the Joker, there's only like 2 guys or there's like 3 guys, and then he just.
They're harassing a woman in Joker?
Yeah.
Oh, they were? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, they were.
And then then harassing a woman, and then the Joker's offending people, I guess. But in this one, he's waiting for it. So he's like ready. He's happy to see this happen. He has got that bloodlust. So he's like, he gets onto the front of the bus and then empties his gun in front of them. And he's like, I'm gonna fuck you up.
And the take they used was different than the one in the trailer too. I think it seemed like a lot more like shaky. Like he was like, I'm gonna fuck you up, you know, or I'm gonna. Or it was almost like he was crying, you know.
Is it is it actually a different take, or is it like context that you like? I don't remember the trailer that well, but
I don't
yeah.
either. Yeah, I don't know.
I
It
think the trailer
could be
came out before the pandemic. I like that it's like not so in like John Wick or other movies. He's unhittable basically. He's like barely getting hit.
Yeah. Well, he gets thrown out of that bus window.
Yeah.
And like when he hits the ground and he gets up and you can see like all the glass in his face. I was like, yeah, he's ruthlessly getting beaten as well.
Yeah.
With these people. But and then he goes back into the bus, and then this is when it's full no more half measures, you know. He's ready to kill these fucking guys.
He starts stabbing. Yeah. None of them have guns.
Yeah.
So it's escalating, and then he starts using the knife, and then he like
the kid who pulls out the knife, which escalates the whole incident, is the kid he ends up saving his life by putting the straw in his throat to give him oxygen, remember?
Yeah.
But that ends up being the kid who is Julian, the main bad guy who comes up later.
That's his brother, right?
And that ends up being his brother. And I didn't even remember that until later when I was like, oh, he's related to this kid. I was like, oh, that's funny that Bob Odenkirk saved his life. He could have just left him dead. He ended up dying. He ended up dying, I think, though. Anyway.
In the hospital?
I think so.
Do they show that, or I don't remember.
He was like, last time I saw your brother, he was still breathing, and that's more than he fucking deserved.
Yeah.
And then it was just indicating that he died, I guess.
Where does he go after the bus? Does he ride the bus again? Does he ride another bus?
Yeah.
Exactly. I was watching Daredevil, and I was like, how does Daredevil get around the city? Like, he's like from far away.
He takes the subway.
He takes the subway, but it doesn't really matter. It cuts to him.
It just cuts to wherever he is.
His wife doesn't seem that surprised.
Yeah.
And I think he says like she's not that surprised. I think she says something like, "You're up to it again" or something. So I think she knows about his past. At this point, she's not too surprised. She patches him up.
That's right. Yep. I guess all of the signs are there. I think there's just so much going on that you just really don't think about how odd the family's acting. Remember the scene when he goes into his little den area, and then it's that really old analog technology.
Yeah.
Which is something I also I wrote down too. I don't know. I wrote down in here. It's weird how it shows him. He never uses modern day technology. He like uses landlines. He has like a record player.
Yeah, that's good.
And then when he like sits next to that old analog like radio, like tube radio that at first I thought he was talking to his dead brother. Like I thought his brother was dead.
Oh yeah, like the RZA as a ghost.
Yeah, because it shows him go and sit next to the radio right after this fight happens, and he gets patched up. Remember? And
then he's on the phone it's like he calls him his brother. It kind of seems like he's his brother. Maybe he refers to like they both refer to their father, like maybe they were adopted or something. But you don't know who it is. I didn't know it was a RZA. I kind of thought the voice that I'm like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
And like this guy sounds like a rapper. He's gonna be like some cultural appropriation guy. Like what's going on?
It's like Sean Penn or something.
Yeah. But then it's so he's out talking on the phone. He's in the basement, but then his son notices he's all beat up, and they don't know why. His son's just like, what's going on? So the kids don't know maybe.
And then after this scene, it takes us right to Russia, and then like big words on the screen is Julian.
You think it's in Russia?
I thought it was. Maybe it wasn't.
I thought it was
just the in the city.
No, it's not. It's not Russia because it's the club where he meets him later on.
Fuck.
So it's just like in that club. There's just like a Russian club. Because that's the same club where he goes. And he brings the C4 and stuff.
Oh yeah. That's right.
So that's where he is there, it introduces the bad guy, and he's singing.
Yeah, he's like singing Russian karaoke or
Yeah.
something.
So you think that he's just like a fun, you don't, because you don't know what's going on. He's just like a fun guy or something.
Yeah, I know. It kind of reminded me of like Only God Forgives or something, or it's like Korean karaoke, or there was the bad guys infatuated with karaoke or something.
Yeah.
But they're in that, but they're actually cold-blooded, ruthless killers. Like,
Yeah,
I
you
think,
know he's the boss from that. It's kind of be a Boogie Nights, like nightclub entrance, like single shot, like steady cam, long shot from like outside the club, follows him all the way through the club onto the stage, and then all the way up the stairs, like steady cam, one shot.
So Julian is the bad guy, and the kid in the hospital was put there because of Hutch. He looks old, and it's funny that the kid in the hospital and Julian are supposed to be brothers. He looks like
his son.
It looks like he's old. Looks old enough to be his grandpa. Like,
yeah.
I'm like, wait, what?
He's
Like,
your
that was
brother? Is he his literal brother again? Like kind of like RZA?
Yeah. Maybe that's a message behind this movie: is what is a brother really?
Yeah.
A brother is whatever you want it to be. So yeah, that was one thing I put in my notes. That was kind of weird how the age gap between these brothers. I also, yeah, I don't know if it means anything, but
it's kind of a trope to have your like mafia like boss guy, and then the son grew up entitled and is just an asshole to everybody. The boss is hard and knows like respect and like when to use violence and be rude and everything, but like the kid is just like a brat who thinks that he can just like rule the world, just like be like harass women and just be a jerk all the time because he's like, you know who I am? Oh, I got the boss stuff. And then his son, so that's like the trope of their son.
And well, that's just like John Wick too.
Yeah,
because I got to the when I got to that point, I was like, it's funny how this movie is just beat for beat John Wick after a certain point. Like,
are there Russians in John Wick too?
I think they were.
Yeah. That's also what happens in the Kevin Bacon one with it's John Goodman's son. So after Kevin Bacon kills John Goodman's son in retaliation, then his son is also just like a rude prick. It's exactly what happens in John Wick.
It is, because the son just follows. He wants John Wick's car, follows him home, and then kills his puppy.
Yeah,
and then it's all fucking downhill from there for that guy.
Yeah, it was his brother, not his son. Which it's kind of weird. Maybe they were like, maybe we gotta change. It was like his son originally, and they're like, this is too much like John Wick. We'll just make it brother. Like
this is too much like John Wick. And then, or maybe the actor was really self-conscious, and he's like, "What do you think? I'm old or something?" It's like,
yeah,
the kid's old enough to be my brother.
They're like, hey, why are you smiling? I thought you were supposed to be a badass.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh yeah, and then he just like kills some guy with the wine glass.
Yeah, he did. Some guy who just kind of crossed him a little bit.
Did he even cross him? I thought he was totally random.
Oh, it was totally. He just gave him a look. Yeah, he just glanced at him funny, and he just breaks this wine glass. And the way it shows him, like he makes impact and then like drags it down his face, and I was like, God damn.
He's like, I am a badass. Look at who's gonna do this. And so, like, oh shit! Like the guys, and then they all. This is where they reveal that they're all they're all stockholders at the club.
Yeah, and then he's like, you realize who that was? he's like, he's a shareholder of whatever the fuck, And
now this guy's in trouble. Nope, he's not in trouble. Everybody's happy.
Yeah, and then he was like, that means we get 80%, and then they all celebrate.
At that point, they can start killing each other.
Yeah, it was like, oh shit. Well, yeah, in that case, all we have to do is just. That's kind of like in The Dark Knight, where the beginning robbers guy just starts taking each other out for shares. Yeah. I would be okay if this movie and John Wick shared a universe at some point.
Yeah, and this movie is is shorter John. It's like if John Wick was a father.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and those John Wicks too. Yeah, they're getting a little more drawn out, and it's kind of a franchise now. But I definitely still like all of them. But there's nothing like seeing that first one for the first time, being like, holy shit, why aren't movies like this anymore? It felt like Jackie Chan and The Matrix and all kinds of shit.
Yeah, but less. I liked his fighting style where it wasn't like kung fu. It was this brawler.
Well, this yeah, everything was just so raw, and
Yeah.
it felt like you could almost smell the like steam coming off from the meat of these wounds in this movie.
Yeah, Street Fighter kind of not like the video game, just like a like a
real Street Fighter.
Yeah,
A kid from the streets.
Kid from the streets, not doing kung fu, because in John Wick, it's like fancy kung fu, like Shabo, but I'm trying to remember, what's that director, like the John Woo.
Oh yeah, John Woo.
It's like not John Woo.
Where he always has the doves flying in the background.
Yeah, and like flips and like just like crane kicks and stuff.
Yeah.
This is just, like brutal. It's like full like swings and stuff. Yeah.
Hard target, man.
Yeah. What happens after he's there in the club and then?
Or wait, no, Bob Odenkirk's in the trunk. He crawls in the trunk of their car.
He's at his house. So Bob Odenkirk's at home. He thinks that everything is fine.
Yeah.
He doesn't know that he's messed with the mob.
Yeah.
He's at the dinner table, just like he's making his lasagna. Yeah. So he's like, hey, I did some crazy bloodlust stuff, but now I'm gonna go back to being a family man. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna make that lasagna that you always like. Then they roll up on him because they find out who he is from the hospital. So they go. The guy, like the main bad guy, goes to the hospital yelling at the people in the beds and stuff.
And he's like beating them with the chair and shit. Yeah. I was like, that was another scene that I think, Haley was like, oh my God. Because it was just, I was like, this movie is just so fucking unnecessarily brutal, but I love it.
Like already in the hospital, he's beating him some more. And does he talk to his brother, or his brother's already dead by it somehow?
Yeah, I think his brother already died, and that's why he's so pissed off.
Yeah. One guy holds up the Metro card though, his bus card.
Yeah, and he's like, dude, and then like I liked that shot too, where it was like across the room, and then it focuses on the Metro card. Yeah. And I was like, a lot of this seems like Bob Odenkirk's like direction and
like Mr. Show.
Like Mr. Show, like it felt, this movie, even though it was written and directed by other people, you could just see all of his little tweaks to the scripts and story.
Yeah, like the transitions.
Yeah, totally. And because he's got like such a classic humor about him, to where it's almost funny to just like pull a bunch of baseball hats out of a backpack and call it comedy,
Yeah,
because it's just funny and random.
So then at that point, he shows him the card, and then it's like classic suspense. It's suspense. It's like, so he shows him the card. It's classic suspense because the bad guys know where he's at, but Bob Odenkirk's just at home eating dinner. We know that the bad guys have him. So then, like you're waiting at the dinner table eating dinner, and you're waiting for them to show up. So then they're sitting at the table, they're just having like a domestic conversation, and then they roll up, and Bob Odenkirk hears them coming, like he knows the signs.
Yeah.
So then he's like, you're gonna go to the basement. He like shuts off the power.
Oh yeah.
Alone or something, Right. And then he's got like a security basement. So then you really know. Like at this point, you're like,
oh, he had all of this planned out.
Yeah, like that he's like something, but now he's like, oh, this guy is real. He knew. So he puts him in the basement and he says, don't call 911.
That part was pretty fucking funny too, man. Yeah. I thought it was so badass. And does he start taking them all out in the house?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's got
that's right.
He's got a baseball bat, at first.
Oh yeah, dude, that first swing. So like he waits for that one guy to go past. Loved that. Like he waits for the one guy and then he takes the other, like swings at his chest,
Yeah,
and then because it gives him time to take out the other guy. I was like the little like the way that the action was just like plotted out was so good in this movie.
yeah, yeah. So they've got like 6 guys with machine guns, and he's just got a baseball bat.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
but then
And
he's but then he takes out 2 guys with a baseball bat, but then he cracks the bat in half and
and
stabs
stabs
somebody with the bat.
with like a stake. Yeah, it was, dude. That's when I was like, I was literally like kind of on giddy, you know, and like jumping at this fucking
Yeah.
shit. I was like, dude, this is so awesome. And that was more Odenkirk shit, you know.
He gets the knife out of the butcher block, which is like a funny thing that everybody has. Do you have a butcher block at home? Like,
Yeah, we do actually.
yeah,
I know. I always have like the weirdest scenarios play through my head. I'm like, if somebody like broke in through the back door, because we're in Chicago, so we have
oh
to
yeah,
worry about stuff like that. I guess the other night, like going off topic real quick, my landlord just texted me and was like, "Hey, we need to make sure to keep the doors locked because a drunk guy was like trying to." He came to the wrong house the other night and was like trying to put his shoulder into our door and was like trying to get in over and over again, and then went down and went around the side and tried to get into the side door. And there's like video footage of it. So it's like, and we were out of town for the night too, so I was like, fuck, man. I'm like,
he thought it was on his own house, maybe.
yeah, that's what I was like, either that or, you know, there's a lot of weird stories around here about home invasions and shit.
It's like, oh yeah, he takes them all out. He shoots a lot of them. He stabs some of them, and it's all in his own house. So it's like he's the father at this point. They're just like destroying his house, or he's destroying his own house where he lives.
Yeah.
It's really some kind of like some kind of metaphor, like was it, like destroying his domestic life.
He like built it up and not only to tear it down again.
Yeah, and keep his home in good shape the first time when it was just like those little robbers, and so he was trying to react like a father. So like the first time his home is invaded, he's trying to react like his new self.
Yeah.
He's like, how would a regular father react right now? And the second time, he's all killer.
Yeah, and that's why like when it showed him like making breakfast for the family and stuff before this happened, and he was just like, hey, he was like, I appreciate you taking that guy or like that or whatever, but next time, you know, whatever. He was like, he's pretty much just trying to be a badass for his kid now.
He uses like a baseball bat, so he's using like domestic weapons. He's like using the baseball bat, and then he like throws like hot water out of the kettle, and then at one point though he shoves the guy's head into the lasagna.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
And the lasagna is
scalding hot.
It's scalding hot, but the lasagna is like a representation of his domestic fatherhood. Yeah, and so then he's shoving the bad guy's face into the lasagna. So it's like using his like weapon. And I think lasagna specifically is like a very like labor intensive kind of dish.
Oh so yeah, it is.
I think that was on purpose to show that he was doing like putting like love into his food. But then they didn't get to eat it, and then they shoved his face right like onto the plate on the kitchen table.
Yeah. No, yeah, you're right. There's definitely some symbolism there, I think. And man, I don't know what was going. I think maybe my son was waking up or something because around that time, because I'm like, I remember all that stuff happening, but it was like I was doing other stuff too.
He gets you get edit that part out. Like I was very focused on this movie. Like I couldn't take my eyes off it. I was very focused, like a professional.
Yeah.
Anyway, but he's beating them all up and everything, and then he just gets kind of tased out of nowhere,
Oh yeah.
which I thought that was kind of funny because at any point, realistically, no one guy could take out like 6 other guys.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh well, his plot armor just like drops for a second to get tased,
Yeah.
and then put him in the trunk. I guess they want him alive, but it seems like after that, then they would just want to like kill him. So he's in the trunk, and you think like it's gonna be like that. Maybe they're gonna cut from him being in the trunk to him being tied up at the base.
Yeah.
But then he just gets out like it's nothing. With the fire extinguisher. Then he gets in a crazy car accident, and then he's fine.
Yeah, so it's like, and then he just like kicks the trunk open somehow.
Well, it's like the seats, like the seats fold back to like have more room in the trunk. Yeah, which they didn't think that was gonna happen.
Yeah, I know.
He wasn't tied up or anything.
Well, yeah, and then so like they get into that crazy car accident, and then that's where the Black Russian guy gets wounded. He gets like that crazy thing through his stomach. Yeah, and then so
that was weird. Why like the Black Russian guy is like, this guy is black. He's like, I'm very Russian. I grew up in Ethiopia.
I know.
Maybe I mean I don't know how that would further the plot or anything.
I don't either.
Like Chekhov's black guy.
Yeah.
It didn't like not fulfilled.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. And then when Bob Odenkirk walks over and he's like, I don't meet a lot of Black Russians. And he's like, I get that a lot.
Yeah. He wasn't like maybe like a RZA. Like he's like, oh yeah, I understand. I know the RZA. But,
yeah, like, he's still talking to this Black Russian guy for a minute, because this is actually where we get the exposition dump. We get his backstory. I really liked the way that they did this. Like he drops all the exposition, sharing a moment with the dying henchman, and he's not realizing that he died halfway through his backstory. So it was kind of funny how like he's told the story and he looks down and the guy's already dead. No, it was a really satisfying and justified exposition dump.
Yeah, I think he's in the middle of doing that, and then he's like, "Oh, my family is in the basement."
Like he forgets.
Oh yeah, when does he tell his father about what's going on? I'm thinking maybe right before this.
Probably the first time he went back. Well, he knew something was going on, and then I think he's had time to explain to his dad.
Because you don't think that his father is maybe not a badass.
Yeah,
and then he is also.
Yeah, he's just sitting there watching his westerns.
It's Christopher Lloyd out of nowhere. You know, it's funny. Like, in Back to the Future, Christopher Lloyd wasn't old. I think he was wearing old man makeup. So now he's like about as old as Doc is.
Yeah, so I mean, him playing Doc Brown has made it seem like he's been around for 100 years.
Yeah, you're like, weren't you like 80 in the 80s? Like,
yeah, I know.
But he looks old too, because even in like Taxi, he looks pretty haggard and old, but he's probably in his 20s.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, Taxi seems like so. Was that the 60s? I think maybe.
Yeah, I think it was 70s, like 76. Yeah. That's a pretty good one to revisit sometimes.
Yeah, but Christopher Lloyd, he's got like psychopath eyes, and I've never seen him in anything.
And he's so
violent. So
I know it was pretty crazy to see him go full ham in this. And he's so cute. I think like when he gets happy and like smiles and he's like, and
yeah, when he kills these 2 guys that go in to get him with the shotgun, which is his primary weapon, is the shotgun.
Yeah.
And then those 2 guys come and attack him, and he dispatches them, and he's smiling. Yeah, he's just very happy. He's like, the other guy is dying, and he's holding his mouth while he's dying, and he's like happy that he's like,
yeah,
really, like yelling at him. He's just like watching the guy die.
Yeah, the nurse is like, turn that shit down, and he's like strangling a guy, but
like, man.
I guess he thought that all those shotgun blasts were the Western he was watching.
Yeah, that's a loud TV.
Yeah, really. And it was like an old tube TV too. It was funny.
Yeah. Guns are loud. Have you shot guns? It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
You gotta wear earplugs. You're gonna go deaf.
Yeah, there's no hearing anything after, especially indoors.
Yeah. But
Um,
he gets out and then he has to go back. He lets his family out, and then his family's gonna go somewhere. I guess they're probably to her mother's.
yeah, so that's one thing they don't really elaborate on is where the family goes. I think.
Yeah.
Um, and even by the end of this movie, I'm like, did they just like ditch their kids? You know?
Yeah, I think they just go to their mothers or something, but because the family's established. But then, so it's like after he goes back, he lets them out of the basement, and then maybe he goes to the club. Does he go back to the club where he's like the C4? He's like in the club, and then it's like this is like the last sequence of the movie.
Yeah, and
So at that point, I'm like, the movie never stops moving. It's really good pacing.
it really is. It really is. And so this is where the brother and the dad show up too randomly at this crazy shootout.
At the warehouse, but first he goes to it just cuts to the club. Bob Odenkirk's in the club.
Oh my god. Yes, that's such a good scene.
Yeah, he's like just like at the club, and so the boss. What's the Russian boss name?
Yulian.
Yulian. Yuli.
He's like doing a little song and dance number.
Oh, Yuli.
And just that shot down where like Bob Odenkirk's eating and it's like slow motion was so fucking glorious to me.
Yeah, I mean, like, whoa, he's a badass. What is he in the club? Not, you don't even know where it came from.
Yeah,
like,
but he's also just like knowing, like sitting there. I think like subconsciously and deep down, Julian was like, "Fuck." Like,
yeah,
he's fucking. Yeah. He fucking.
He's not like Mission Impossible, like slow, like. You know, Mission Impossible, he's like got the rope. He's like dun 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 dun. He's like lowering himself down, trying to get in there, or like sneaking in there, or like breaking through the windows, or like not spying, or like jumping through like the skylight, like Batman, but it's jumping through the skylight in the middle of the club, and it's like oh, and then he's in there. This one, he's just there.
Yeah. Dude, I loved the scene too where when he was like, you know, the neighbor that was bragging about his car in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then like it just fucking cut to fucking punches through the like window of that car that he's like 0 to 80, 165 horsepower. We're about to find the fuck out.
That's good. That was a Chekhov payoff.
Yeah. It just was so fucking that's the thing too, is not only the pacing but all of the payoffs and callbacks in this movie.
Yeah,
they none of them were stale. Like none of them there wasn't one that didn't need to be there, you know.
He's got the C4. Oh, first everybody pulls out. They all pull out the guns. Everybody's got a gun. Like this guy's in the middle of a place with the gun, and then he's got the C4. Is it C4? I think it's C4, right?
Yeah, it was like a C. Yeah, it's C4, and he has like a string attached to a.
That's like
a pin.
Like the Joker to me.
Yeah, it was.
Like in the Dark Knight.
Yeah, another nod to another Joker thing.
Yeah. So he's trying to trick him. He's trying to trick him into. So he's talking to him. He's like, "I've had enough of this life, and you've had enough of this life. Let's get out. Like, here's our chance. So we can get out."
Yeah.
And then, so he's trying, but it's reverse psychology.
Yeah.
But you don't necessarily know that. You still think, you're like, maybe he's actually a father still. Kind of like, is he real? Are you Batman or are you Bruce Wayne? You know, like, he's like Bruce Wayne is the disguise. You know?
Yeah.
So it's like he's actually this badass guy. The father is the disguise, but at this point, it's like trying to pull at that string again, being like maybe he is a father and a badass on the side. He's like, let's make a peace deal.
Yeah.
But really, he's just trying to rile him up. He just walks out.
He just walks out because he has the bomb. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's like, how about we make a peace deal? I'll let you think about it, and then he leaves. But he knows that they're all going to chase him, so he was trying to bait them. But if I really
That's
at
he's
that
trying
point,
to bait yeah, and then he takes them to the warehouse. Yeah, that's
yeah, but
right.
he could have been like, okay, you're right, I quit the life. But he
Yeah.
blows up. We missed the part where he blows up the money factory.
Yeah, when he goes to his and that's what kind of riles him up is he brings some of his burnt money and he
Yeah, and
just
he's
like
like, I burned
flashes it.
all your money.
And that's what was awesome is like he's still losing his shit, but he's got this fucking C4. But he's like
Yeah,
he's like bringing it to like 9, but he wants to go to 11. But like he's just
yeah.
yeah, it was really good.
And burning the money again. The
Another
Joker
Joker thing. Guy, come on, what's up?
burning a pile of money just like immediately says that you don't that you want to be a murder is more important than
Yeah,
money to you.
I don't think Bobby Odenkirk's writer. I don't think he's ever seen The Dark Knight or something because the writer's just like pulling from these movies, and he's like, "Yeah, I
Yeah,
got this great script." Um, so and then yeah, so he draws all the Russian guys to this warehouse, which is another thing I fucking love. Was when he brings those gold bars to buy the building from his father-in-law and his brother-in-law.
yeah.
Well, that's another great scene too when he socks his brother-in-law in the stomach,
Yeah,
and
this
then
time he's in badass mode
yeah, he's
for
in
the
fucking
father mode.
badass mode. And then like the guy sits down, and then he's like, "Well, what am I gonna do?" And he's like, "I don't really give a fuck." And then the whole reason he bought the fucking warehouse was to draw these Russians to it to have
Yeah,
this
just to
crazy
explode it.
shootout. I thought that was the biggest payoff. I was
Yeah,
like, that's the biggest heckle in the movie. Was just you think he wants this building to have some sort of wholesome
yeah.
like tie to it, but he really just doesn't give a shit. He just wants to have somewhere to kill
Have you
people.
seen that the Denzel Washington movie where he fights the bad guys in like a Home Depot at the end of it with
Is it like the Equalizer?
yeah, the Equalizer. Did you see
I
the Equalizer?
I never did watch those.
Oh yeah, they're good.
Are they good?
Well, okay, so it's like the Equalizer is like kind of they're not that good. I would say that the Equalizer is like a longer drawn out. This one was like
Yeah.
90 minutes. The Equalizer is probably like over 2 hours long. But like I only want to see the fights, or they cut it down.
Yeah.
So it's like the Equalizer has, if they cut it down to 90 minutes, it would be like this movie. So it's like I would
Yeah.
say this is better than Equalizer, but it is like another thing where like it's kind of like Home Alone. Like
Right.
yeah,
Sets all the traps, but all the traps in this one were so smart. I thought, like there, it didn't seem like I had seen these done before. Like it seemed like there was a little cleverness behind them. Like it was almost like there was a little prank to them. You know.
yeah. But
Um.
the RZA shows up, and you don't know. At least I didn't know it was the RZA. Have you been watching the Wu Tang TV show on Hulu?
No, I actually haven't, but I think I'm gonna check it out now, and then maybe
It's
we could
good.
talk about it on here.
I think it's really good.
I,
And that movie is directed. I mean, not directed, but like produced by RZA.
yeah, well, I'm down because everything I've seen about it, it looks good. But aren't they on like 3 seasons now?
No, they just ended season 2.
Oh, okay. Well, then
That's
there's not that
doable.
much then,
Are you a Wu Tang fan in general?
dude. Totally. I'm
Yeah,
a
I
huge
am.
Wu Tang fan. I didn't watch that show because of what Straight Outta Compton did.
Oh yeah,
And all of those guys were behind that movie too, but that movie was such a like fabricated piece of trash.
the show is way better because the show is like really heightened. We should do the show. We could do another
Yeah.
episode of the Wu Tang show.
No,
But,
I'm down. We might do that because Haley and me are gonna do a Euphoria episode because we want to kind of
Oh yeah, I haven't seen that one.
we kind of
But
want to tear that show a new
I really
asshole.
like the RZA, and the RZA is the whole Wu Tang like kung fu thing.
Yeah,
He also did
the duel of the
he did
Iron Mikes.
Kill Bill, really totally out of nowhere. Like the last like 20 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, I love the RZA. Do you like the Duel of the Iron Mike?
I didn't see
Album?
that one.
It's an album. You should check it out.
Oh, yeah.
It's amazing. So
he
yeah,
shows up out of nowhere, and you're like, "What? The RZA's in the movie?"
yeah, he shows up and as a sniper too. It was
Yeah.
and a really good one at that. And then he brought his dad too, and Christopher
Yeah.
Lloyd brought a whole handful of shotguns.
It's like suddenly there's a team, like no build up or anything
Yeah,
like that. It's like
I do too.
cartoony. It's like thrown out of nowhere. Like,
Yeah,
hey, the RZA's here and Christopher
yeah.
Lloyd.
I know. I agree. I was thinking that through the whole movie too. I was like, the pacing and the time, like it's only an hour and a half long,
Yeah.
and they just drop us into this without having to build it up. And where there's so many movies that shows them track down everybody, and they're like, we got to do this. We got to do this one last thing, you know.
Yeah.
But it's
And
so fucking cliche.
all the actors are not action guys.
Yeah.
You know, like what if you show up at the end and then it's like I don't know who's in action movies these days. Like I mean, like it's like Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, I guess Keanu Reeves is in all the action movies now.
He's like, hey, it's Keanu Reeves. Like, well, that's, or like I don't know, Schwarzenegger, or like basically the Expendables.
Yeah.
Like anybody, it's like, oh, it's Jean-Claude Van Damme.
It's like they don't let actors do these movies anymore. Like they just want stunt people to do all the no liabilities, you know.
Yeah, so the RZA's like stunt casting in the best way.
So that was all. So the brother and the dad show up to the big shootout in the warehouse, and they all just booby trap the place up with it was like Home Alone on meth.
Yeah,
This movie was.
He must have been like, I guess they showed up, like he seemed kind of surprised to see them, but they knew about all the traps.
When he strapped the C4 to the blast shield.
Yeah.
And like just charged towards Julian, and then this is there's no like big showdown or face off or anything. He just decides to strap a C4 to this blast shield, run towards him, and then it just blows him. Like Bob gets blown off, but it like blasts that guy like to hell.
That's part of his whole style of fighting, like I was talking about earlier. Like John Wick is almost untouchable most of the time. Like he gets through, like he doesn't get hit a lot. I mean, he does a little bit, and he does get beat up a lot. He punches somebody else, he takes a couple of punches.
Yeah.
And it's just like he's able to keep going anyway somehow. But then
almost like he takes them on purpose, you know, to get like adrenaline from it to continue to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So his last move is like here's some weird reference, but like like the Pikachu, like before Pikachu, what's the de-evolved version of Pikachu?
Just that's you're thinking
it's like Raichu, whatever it is.
But yeah, Pikachu's the regular one.
Pikachu's a regular one in the middle, and then there's one that's like de-evolved before. And then like that character, when you use electricity, you take some damage yourself. So it's like taking the damage yourself.
Like Smash Brothers.
Yeah. So you like don't think that he's gonna get blown up, and then he uses it, and then uses the C4 from the club.
And that's one thing that's probably a little bit of symbolism too. Is like he fulfilled on that promise. He was like, this wasn't a threat. I used the C4 on your ass, you know.
I think you got to kill like the bad guy. It's kind of funny that there's probably a lot of people involved in that money getting burned, but he's like, well, I killed this guy.
Yeah.
All over.
Yeah. Totally. But it's pretty exciting though. I heard Bobby Odenkirk on Howard Stern recently. He's been talking about a sequel, maybe.
I mean, I would see a sequel. I would see a remake or something.
A remake?
Like I want him to make. I have a weird idea where they just like make the exact same movie with the exact same people, just like again.
I mean, just like John Wick did. I would watch it though. So
John Wick is like I think like basically every movie starts where the last one ended, isn't it?
True, but that's the way they could play this out too. There's some ties left untied out there that he didn't like, or like Julian was just part of a massive organization. Christopher Lloyd and RZA and Bob Odenkirk. What a fucking it's weird to say like those three names
Yeah.
together in a movie, actually, man.
And he's got this really awesome move where he's got this sniper rifle, and then he uses it as like a weapon. I'm not like a physical weapon instead of as the gun.
Yeah.
And then he like stabs the guy into the thing, and then he twists off the whatever the at the end of the gun is. He twists it off the gun, like, and then he shoots somebody else, and then he goes back to the other guy, and then he twists the gun back on.
Yeah.
So it's like some like you have to be like it's like one with the gun.
Yeah.
Like,
are you talking about that one shot too, where it like goes up in the air and the camera? It seems to like, it's like the gun is the camera, and we get to,
he just like he just knows. It's just like they established that he knows that gun. Like he knows how to use it. He knows how it comes apart and stuff. I've never seen anybody take apart the gun in the fight.
Yeah, exactly. Took it up, and then when all those three guys like, I don't know how the fuck how they got that to look so cool, but the way that these guys just happened to line up, and he just took the shot and hit three of the guys at the same time. I was like, oh, holy shit! This movie is so fucking awesome.
Yeah, RZA and Christopherlloyd, they're not physical guys.
No.
So they like really got in there. Really looked like they were doing it, even though like they couldn't fight or anything. So.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Bob Odenkirk either.
Bob Odenkirk wasn't either, and he put the work in and got into shape. And I guess, did you hear about the heart attack he had?
Yeah, he had on the set of Better Call Saul, I think.
Yeah, so he had a heart attack on the set of Better Call Saul, and it was fucked up because they had to. So he told this story on Stern too. I'm just gonna retell it. He was pretty much almost dead, and for some reason there was a lady on set who had a defibrillator in her car, and she ran and got the defibrillator out of the car while there was someone continuing to do CPR on him, and he said it took like 6 tries or something.
Oh.
And then he got brought back to life. And he was like, if that lady wouldn't have been there, no one else has a defibrillator on set. And if he would have been in his trailer, people don't bother you in the trailer. So he was like, I don't know. He's like, I'm lucky to be here. And Howard asked him too. He was like, so do you think this movie caused you to have that heart attack? And he was like, no, this movie saved my life. He was like, I got into the best shape of my life. And they said that because I worked out so much for this movie, more blood was able to pump to my heart, and it brought me back to life. So
yeah.
So basically nobody is the reason we still have Bob Odenkirk right now. And what a savior. You know?
Yeah. I'm not watching Better Call Saul, but I might watch it now that it's almost over.
Do it. It's so good. It's so good. It doesn't have like a point really. Yeah. So it's just like you're watching a show that has good writing, and
that's fine.
So it doesn't really. So just I think that's a good way to just
look at it. I think like the best. I mean, the movie's good, but the best part is that it's like exactly 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Like including credits. The whole movie is only like like 85 minutes or whatever if you don't include the credits, and it's like pretty much like at 90, which is the minimum. And I didn't notice that the first time I was watching it. I was just like, hey, it's good. I'm happy to be doing this show. This is fun.
Yeah.
When we were starting this, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna be like what I have to say about this movie. I think we've been going for like 2 hours. It feels like. What time is it?
I don't know. Hold on. I can't see what time it is.
I don't know. This is fun.
It's 9:11 right now. Yeah, no, we've been doing, and we should do this more often, man. I'll invite you out. So
but it's 90 minutes, so it's like the Better Call Saul and all these shows where everything is just like long. It's like, I'm like losing track of what's going on. But this one was just so well paced.
Really was, and it was good to just see Bob Odenkirk get his vision across in something too, because he has such a certain tone. He has a tone that you're not going to get anywhere else, which you and I both picked up on it in this movie. His humor throughout the chaos and violence.
Yeah, right. That's we got through the thing. I think I'm gonna try to think of bad things. If I had to say bad things about the movie,
You know what? I mean, if you going back and listen to any of my episodes, most of the episodes I'm saying bad things about the movies, but for this some reason there's not many with this one.
I think one thing I'm gonna say is like the culture, like it's like the Russians. They established the bad guys, like oh the Russians,
Yeah.
they're the bad guys, which is fine for this kind of thing because it speeds it up, but it is a little
Played out.
or like culturally insensitive or something, which is
Yeah.
like this racist junior, I guess. But it's not, yeah.
I mean, I don't know, man. The Russians are the ones that are attacking like their own people kind of right now. So it's like
Yeah,
they
but then
really do good at it, but it is like saying that all Russians are like that. So
yeah, you're attacking your own people, but then the people that are getting attacked are there also.
yeah. Yeah.
But
It's horrible, man. I mean,
that's barely an issue in the movie. It's like RZA was really out of nowhere. Like they showed up out of nowhere, which was fun. And it's like maybe they could have been slightly more introduced. It is a little at the end, like sudden that the RZA shows up.
Yeah, I know. Well, and that was the only way I knew that he was alive, actually, was seeing him show up, because I was like, was he really talking to a radio, or was that a ghost?
Was it like his memories or something?
Yeah, well, I mean, and the way his dad was talking about it too, when he was looking at the picture, he's like, we choose how to remember him or something. Like they made it really seem like he was dead until the end of the movie. Yeah, so this was a good episode. I'll be in touch, and we should do another one of these things, though.
You're not giving the movies like numbers?
Yeah,
like,
so I mean,
whatever.
I mean, yeah, I every once in a while I'll be like, I think this is like a 4 or 5 star movie, and then plus I'll sometimes put like an A+ or a F on the poster. I think this is an A. It's not quite like an A- or an A+, but I think it's like an A movie for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a B-rated A movie for me.
Yeah, it's like a B movie style, but we gotta like come up with some kind of numbering.
Yeah, well, if you ever watch like on cinema at the cinema, they give it like 3 or 4 bags of popcorn.
I'm gonna give this movie 6 buffet plates out of 9.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, but I would give it more than that way. I would give it like 7.
No, I'm gonna give it a solid 85 out of 100.
And it's dumb. I like that it's dumb because I don't like smart movies usually. Unless they're like, it's like there's so many movies that are like halfy smart. I felt like the Batman is like trying to be smart, but it's dumb. It's like actually dumb. This movie is like not trying to be smart.
Yeah,
I really appreciate that. Yeah.
All right, this has been Movie Buffers episode 6. Thanks for coming, Kenny.
My pleasure.
We highly recommend Nobody. I think it's safe to say, right?
Yes.
All right, and Bob Odenkirk is one of the best. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.
Check out my show, ydhwm.
Yeah, your daily hour with me on YouTube or on local access TV. Thanks for watching.